Shift our attention now to the Subhash Chandra Bose files, because it's a 71-year-long mystery which simply never ends decisively. Tomorrow is the day when the Prime Minister's office will declassify 33 files relating to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. The big question, of course, is what do those files contain? We've been able to access information about the subjects covered by these files. I sat down this afternoon and filed this report, which looks at what you can expect from the Netaji files declassification. Will the mystery finally end? Sit back and take a look at this report, because when we come back, I'll have the extended family of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose joining me right here in the India Today Mediaplex, and with me also from Germany will be Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's lone surviving daughter Anita Bose Pfaff. So we have a lot lined up, but before that, let me get you exclusive details about what to expect from the Netaji files. This is the last known undisputed picture of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. It was clicked around noon on August the 17th, 1945, when Netaji's Japanese aircraft landed at a deserted aerodrome in Vietnam. The next day, Netaji flew from Vietnam to Taiwan. What happened next? As Netaji's flight took off from Taipei to Tokyo, is part of one of the greatest mysteries of modern India. That mystery could finally be unraveling. Last year, on the 4th of December, Prime Minister Modi's Principal Secretary, Nipendra Mishra, handed over a set of 33 files to the Director General of the National Archives. These files will be placed in the public domain on the 23rd of January. For decades now, successive governments have done everything in their power to keep these files secret. India today has been able to piece together details about the subjects covered in the files that are set for declassification. The Prime Minister's office is in possession of a total of 41 classified and 17 unclassified files about Netaji Bose. Among the 41 secret files, 5 are deemed to be highly classified, so much so that the PM's office was not even willing to reveal the subject of their content while responding to a RTI query filed by an organization known as Mission Netaji. 14 of the files being declassified relate to the formation and the working of 3 inquiries: the Shahnawaz Committee of 1956, the Khosla Commission, which functioned between 1970 and 74, and the Justice Mukherjee Commission of Inquiry, which operated between 1999 and 2006. 2 files relate to communications between West Bengal politician and Netaji's associate Sameer Guha and Subhash Bose. There's 1 file from 2006 on the communication between forward bloc leaders and the central government. 1 on the construction of the Indian National Army Memorial. 1 about conferring a Bharat Ratna to Subhash Bose. 1 file about the transfer of Netaji's ashes from Japan to India. 1 file is about the properties of the INA in the Far East. And 1 regarding the funeral of the widow of Netaji. 3 each of the files that will be declassified are from the 1970s, 1980s and 1990s, while 1 was generated in 2006. Only 10 of the total files with the Prime Minister's office are about the disappearance of Netaji Subhash Bose. Most of the files that are going to be declassified have already been seen by Justice Mukherjee during his investigation. The Prime Minister's office also has 3 files about the personal life of Netaji Bose. These are not being made public. They are about Netaji's wife, his daughter and his alleged mistress. Prime Minister Modi has promised Netaji's family that all files in the possession of his office will be made public. However, no deadline has been fixed. Even though all the Netaji files are not being declassified, a very important chapter in modern Indian history is about to be rewritten. This is Rahul Kamal reporting for India Today. Some interesting details there about the subjects that these files will cover. The details, of course, about the specific contents is something we'll have to wait till tomorrow for. Let me now take you through some of the conspiracy theories, because now those conspiracy theories are being contested as well. Now, the critical question, of course, is whether the Netaji files will help answer some of the questions that the conspiracy theories have been raising in all these years. Conspiracy theory number one: Bose didn't die in the plane crash in Taipei because there is no official report of a plane crash on the 18th of August 1945 in Taiwan. Remember, the Taiwanese government has said so on record that there is no official record of a plane having crashed. Apart from this, Netaji's lieutenants say they never saw his body. The plane didn't crash in Taiku, except for one associate. The others say they never saw the body. The death certificate was not issued till several decades after Netaji's death. The second conspiracy theory deals with, I'm sure you've heard of this, the Gumnami Baba, the sadhu. Netaji's old associates claim that Netaji survived the plane crash and in fact became a sadhu in an ashram in Sholmari in West Bengal. Bose attended Gandhiji's funeral in disguise in 1958. He lived in a temple in Bareilly in the late 1950s. Then there is obviously the Soviet connection. Reports say that Bose was in Soviet Russia after 1945. And then as the Gumnami Baba in Faizabad, who called up, who met several of the associates of the late Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, members of the Indian National Army. He apparently used to smoke fancy cigarettes, speak fluent Bengali, polished English, and this was supposed to be a sadhu. So people thought that maybe this was Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. This sadhu went by the name of Bhagwanji. He died on the 16th of September 1985. The fifth conspiracy theory is that there was no aviation accident that occurred in Taipei on the 18th of August 1945. Subramaniam Swamy alleges that Netaji was killed by Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin at the behest of the then Congress government. Now, these theories are all being questioned by Ashish Ray. Ashish Ray is an independent journalist. Let me tell you a bit about him, because he's now running bosefiles.info. These conspiracy theories, remember, have gained a lot of ground over the past few years, but Ashish Ray is contesting those. He is the grandnephew of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. He's an independent journalist who's based in the United Kingdom. Very recently, he set up bosefiles.info to debunk all the conspiracy theories around Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. According to Ashish Ray, Netaji did die in that plane crash on the 18th of August 1945, and there are several members of the extended family, though, who will be joining me in just a moment from now, who don't believe that Netaji died in that Taipei air crash. Ashish Ray, though, happens to be an exception, along with Anita Fairfoo's Netaji's daughter. Ray claims that Netaji did indeed die in Taiwan in that plane crash, that there are doctors, there are nurses, there are attendants who saw Netaji and his body was all burnt up because of that plane crash. Ashish Ray also believes that Netaji's mortal remains are preserved at Tokyo's Renkoji temple. Netaji's surviving daughter, Anita Bose Pfaff, who will be joining me from Germany in a few moments from now, accepts the plane crash theory. So the family is divided, historians are divided, and it is very, very confusing because there is no definite account on what happened to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. I want to get you now a deposition made by Habibur Rahman. Habibur Rahman is a very famous Pakistani army officer. He later became a Pakistani army officer. Before independence, he was the aide-de-camp, the right-hand man of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose in the INA army. He was the only lieutenant who was actually flying with Netaji when the flight took off from Taipei and was en route to Tokyo. In files that have been put out on bosefiles.info, Ashish Ray has put out the original testimony of Habibur Rahman, where he describes the last fateful journey of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose.
Colonel Habibur Rahman is infamously known in India as the man who led Pakistan in the war to free Kashmir from Dogra rule in 1947. But just a few years before that, he was Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's most trusted aide. He is the man who was with Netaji at the time his plane crashed and is believed to have an exact account of what happened in August 1945. Colonel Habibur Rahman, who survived the crash, came from Pakistan to testify to the 1956 Netaji Inquiry Committee headed by Major General Shah Nawaz Khan. According to Colonel Habibur Rahman, on the 16th of August 1945 at 10:30 am, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose left Singapore for Bangkok. He was accompanied by a few government and army officers, including Colonel Habibur Rahman. They spent a day in Bangkok and on the morning of the 17th of August 1945 left for Saigon. At 7:30 in the morning, two bomber planes left for Saigon. In Saigon, Netaji held negotiations with the Southern Region's command. The same evening, Netaji, accompanied by senior Japanese officers, left Saigon and spent the night at Turin in French Indochina. At 2:30 in the afternoon, on the 18th of August 1945, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose embarked on his fateful journey. His plane took off from Taihoku in then Formosa Island. According to Colonel Habibur Rahman's testimony, the plane had not gained much height and was still within the outskirts of the airfield when a loud explosion was heard from the front. One of the propellers of the aeroplane had broken. The plane crashed to the ground immediately and caught fire. Colonel Rahman said that at the time of the accident, Netaji was seated next to a petrol tank just behind a Japanese officer who was directly behind the pilot. Colonel Rahman saw Netaji get out of the plane from the front. As he followed him out, he saw that Netaji's clothes were on fire. Colonel Habibur Rahman rushed to remove Netaji's clothes, but by the time they were removed, he had sustained severe burn and head injuries.
I rushed and I experienced great difficulty in unfastening his bushard belt. His trousers were not so much on fire, and it was not necessary to take them off. He was not wearing the sweater. He was wearing khaki drill. I laid him down on the ground and noticed a very deep cut on his head, probably on the left side. His face had been scorched by heat and his hair had also caught fire and singed. The cut in his head was a long one, about 4 inches.
Within the next 15 minutes, Netaji was rushed to the nearest Nippon Army hospital. According to Colonel Rahman's account, Netaji was given immediate medical attention, but his condition deteriorated and he died at 9 p.m. the same day. But before his death, Netaji asked Colonel Habibur Rahman to convey his message to his countrymen. I have fought to the last for India's independence and now am giving my life in the same attempt. Countrymen, continue the independence fight. Before long, India will be free. Long live Azad Hind. Colonel Rahman said that he requested the army authorities to arrange for early transportation of Netaji's body to Singapore or Tokyo. He was assured of help, but on the 21st of August, he was told that the length of the box for Netaji's body could not be put into an aircraft. It was suggested that Netaji's body be cremated in Taihoku. Colonel Rahman agreed to the request and according to him, Netaji's body was cremated on the 22nd of August 1945 at Taihoku. The ashes were collected on the 23rd of August. Colonel Habibur Rahman then requested the army to arrange for Netaji's ashes to be taken to Tokyo, from where they could be sent to India.
The centre, because Prime Minister Narendra Modi could reshuffle his cabinet, we are told, if not by the end of this month, but certainly before the budget session. Sources telling India Today that Prime Minister Modi
description done, and he'll tell you what to do with it, how to go about it, and whether it's worth your money or not. Over to you, Sahil Sina.
I have my jacket back on, which